Good afternoon. This is Dr. Charles Foster with Fostering Wellness. We have locations in Brandon, been there since 1987, another location in Rutland since 2008, and a couple of years ago we started a location, or bought into a location in the Randolph office, and so we're very proud to have 3 locations where you can receive the services that we provide. Now, I'm going to begin in just a moment, but just in case we go a little bit longer than you're prepared to, I anticipate we're going to be about 20-25 minutes. But if you can't visit with us the entire time and you get to the end and you have to hang up, know that we are recording the event, and it will show up on YouTube. You'll be able to Google on YouTube Fostering Wellness, Sprouting New Habits. You should also be able to find us on Facebook and a link there at Fostering Wellness. And if Google Plus is your preferred medium of that kind, we'll be there as well. And of course, we'll also be at fosteringwellness.net, our website. So I look forward to hearing your comments from there. So let me just go ahead and display the PowerPoint for you, and we'll get started. For some reason, my PowerPoint's not opening up for you. Well, looks like you're going to see it. I think we've had another one of our little glitches, but let's do this. And we'll just start from there. All right. So, creating healthy habits is, as a family, is an effective way to achieve success in keeping healthy habits for the long term. Not only will you be able to support each other in your goals, but you'll have the opportunity to bring the family closer together as well and enjoy positive activities as a group. Well, I'm sorry, folks. For some reason, it's not advancing for you. Let me try that again. I apologize. I had this working 10 minutes ago. All right. So let's go back here. Screen share. Share. Looks like now we're going to be able to do that. All right. So, as we said, creating healthy habits is going to be a lot easier if you do this as a family, and it's going to have a lot of benefits. And so we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to create healthy habits in your family for the long term. We know it's much easier to eat healthy when those around you are doing it as well. Now, while each individual is responsible for his or her own habits, we all know how difficult it can be to resist a chocolate chip cookie, chocolate cake, ice cream, candy bar, when other members of the family are keeping them around the house and eating them in front of us. And we know how much easier it is when those around us are following the food plan just as we are. So very, very important to kind of get together and make a contract with your family. Now, I want you to remember, your kids look up to you. So the behaviors that you model for them, they're going to pick up. They're going to think it's normal to eat good, healthy food if that's what you do. Just like they're going to think it's normal to brush their teeth. So please, please, please understand that you are being watched 24/7 by your children, and that your behaviors, good or bad, are going to be an influence on your family. So here's the thing. Let's start off by calling a family meeting, and let's make a pact to eat healthy together. Now, instead of trying to force family members to eat how you think they should, let's take the time and begin to educate them on what healthy nutrition is. Now, people of any age are much more likely to develop healthy habits when they know why they should, when they know that they're in control of their own choices. Okay? Now, I want you to also recognize that each person, even those with that share your DNA, we have families of all sizes and shapes and activity levels and metabolic activity levels. They're going to have different needs, and so somebody in your family might do better with a vegetarian or vegan diet. Someone might do better with paleo or a high protein diet, or maybe they have to be gluten free. But make sure that you understand that we all go through phases, and so be ready to address those things. Now, of course, it's not usual for each person in the family to have a separate dinner cooked for them 3 times a day, or even once a day. So our point is to recognize how to help instill in our children a healthy relationship with food. And one of the ways that they can develop this healthy relationship that's going to last for a lifetime is to let them help you prepare it. So let's begin with a few of these tips. So the first thing, let's get off of this thing that I grew up under back in the 60s and 70s. You know, we had to clean our plate because somewhere, some place in the world, there were children starving, and so that required me to clean up my plate. We're not saving anybody by making ourselves fat, okay? So let's listen to the signals in our body. A recent YouTube video I made was about listening to the pain signals in your body. When you have pain, it tells you something's going wrong. It tells you that your body might be in danger, that there could be some sort of threat. And when we look at other body signals, such as our blood pressure and cholesterol and our temperature and heart rate and heart rhythm, those are all things that are body signals that tell us something about the state of our body. And when we begin to feel full, it's time to stop. We should have probably stopped before then. We don't want to eat to the point where we feel full all the time. So let's don't teach our kids the way maybe many of us were taught, that cleaning the plate is such a big deal. Doesn't mean they shouldn't eat a little bit of everything on the plate because you're wanting to get them some balanced meals. But you don't have to waste food. You can put it in a wrap, in a plastic bag, or in a glass or a plastic dish, and you can heat it up later. Sometimes that stuff tastes better later on anyway, if it's been stored properly. We also want to make sure that we serve balanced meals. A good rule of thumb is to make sure that each meal contains a correct proportion of protein, carbohydrates, and fat, and as always, a tall glass of water to hydrate the body. Let's get rid of the juices, and let's get rid of the soft drinks and the sweetened teas and things like that that our kids love so much because they love that sweet stuff. Let's get rid of those things and teach them that they need to hydrate with water. I can't tell you how many people in my practice, I talk to them, they say they can't stand the taste of water. I don't get it. It's because they are addicted to this flavor stuff, and water is just supposed to taste good without any flavor added. So if we're going to serve balanced meals with carbohydrates, protein, and fats, let's look at some sources of healthy carbs. Fresh organic fruit and vegetables, if you can get it. Minimally processed grains, quinoa, brown rice, buckwheat. Those are good sources of carbs. Sources of healthy proteins, we like to look at beans and organic meat, eggs, whey protein, Some nuts like almonds also have a nice amount of protein in them, as well as fats. And of course, we'll talk about those here as well. Sources of healthy fats: olives, olive oil, nuts, avocados, eggs. Don't believe what we've heard for the last 50 years about eggs. Eggs are actually good for us. Coconut oil, seed oil, fish, salmon, tuna, swordfish, all good sources of healthy fats. So I encourage you to get good amounts of these into your diet. Now, another thing that's important is let's try to make sure that we don't vilify or criminalize or demonize all the sugary and processed foods all the time. No one likes to be judged, and if they've already got a sweet tooth for this, if you start acting like it's a bad thing and they're bad people for it, they're going to resist the positive changes that you want to exert in their lives. And quite frankly, we've found that by not letting kids eat dessert, they may want it even more. You know how it is. You're told you can't have something, you want it even more. And by only allowing people to finish desserts after they finish cleaning their plate of vegetables, you're beginning to define dessert as a reward. And then you begin to create more positively attached emotions to sweet foods. And we want to avoid that if at all possible. I want you to think about some recent research. One of the research things showed that when a group of children had access to a variety of foods and could eat anything, they naturally began to eat a balanced diet. Now, in comparison, when another group of children in the study were deprived of choice and restricted from eating desserts, they ate more calories and less balanced meals. And when sweets were available, they tended to gorge on them. So we wanted to instill a healthy attitude, healthy relationship to food. And one of the things I want you to do is I want you to think of this: teach by example. Show the kids how much you love eating broccoli. Serve balanced meals often. Comment on the tastiness of that baked chicken. Here's a great thing you can do. Watch Top Chef and other cooking shows with your kids. And begin to get ideas about how to fix things and how to prepare things. It's a fun thing, and it's what's great is you see all these programs now with kids competing on Top Chef shows as well. Instead of making dessert out to be the enemy, show them healthy alternatives with fruits, like baking apples with cinnamon on them, or pears, another fruit that is really tasty when it's warmed up and baked with just a little bit of cinnamon, that kind of thing. Show them how fruit salads can be very tasty and satisfying. Let the kids help you make desserts. Take their ideas. Okay. Another way to get a healthy relationship with food is to develop habits. Go to the store together. I know that a lot of mothers like to go to the store without the kids because they don't like to be pulled in every direction, or they just want a little bit of time by themselves. But if you want your kids to have a healthy relationship with food, you have an opportunity when you go down aisles to tell them things that are not good for them and point those things out to them and show them how to read labels. And you have an opportunity to spend a lot of time in the produce aisle showing children what this food is good for and how it can be used. You can talk about preparing it. Let the kids begin to pick out foods that look tasty and juicy. When they pick them out, they're much more likely to eat them when you get them home. You can plant a garden together, pick it together, eat it together. Eating their own produce will be a thing of pride and fun for them. Now, don't be like a tree. You got to move. You got to get out and do some stuff. I want you to teach your kids exercise isn't a chore. Make it fun and engaging. Make it so it's filled with laughter. Goof with your kids. Be physical with your kids. Another thing that we often like to do is we like to get away from the kids and we like to go exercise by ourselves. And the kids, when we're running down the road 3 miles from the house, they can't see us. They can't see what we're getting out of it. They just see us come home. We're all sweaty and we're tired and exhausted. They don't get to see and feel the fun of the motion. So slow down your pace sometimes. Do a couple workouts with them. You might have to still do your long run without them, but run around the house with them. If you have to run ahead and come back and join them, or let them run ahead, you catch them, chase them. and so that they really begin to feel like movement is normal for them, exercise movement. It's just such an important thing for them. Imagine doing some of these things. Get on the floor and wrestle. Be aggressive. Do your push-ups with the kids on your back. Pretend to be on their back when they're doing push-ups. Have a pillow fight with the kids. It can be a very aerobic thing. If you have a 5 or 10 minute pillow fight, you're going to get your heart rate up. You're going to use your core. You're going to be swinging. You're going to have fun. Just make sure that you grab hold of the zipper and put that in your hand so no one gets caught in the face with one of those things. But go for hikes, go for bike rides. Have a dance contest in your house. Take turns dancing, watching each other, judging the dance, or dancing together. Then think about other sports, team sports. Invite the neighbors over. Have a tug of war. Do yoga together. The team sports teach hard work. They teach things about rules. They teach about coordination. They teach about teamwork. That one person has a certain role to play in the team, the other has another role to play in the team. So these are all really, really good things for us to keep in mind. Another thing is to be a social butterfly. This can take on many forms, but one thing is be friends with your neighbors. Get the neighbors and their kids to come over and play games. It's such a great thing when kids begin to interact with the neighborhood adults. They begin to understand what it's like to behave in the company of adults. You can play action games, well, like get on the Wii and play games with that, but you can also do things like Pictionary, Scrabble, dominoes, card games. But just have fun. They learn Monopoly. My grandson knows how to make change when you buy a property. He knows how to look at his card now and knows how much money to charge me for rent. And I can give him, if it costs me $4 to land on a piece of property, I give him a 5 and he gives me back a 1. And so they're learning lots of different things at the same time as they're being social, and you're building their vocabulary and their experience. So very, very important stuff to do. Another thing that you can do as a family is to be a volunteer. This is such an important social thing. It teaches the value of service. It helps us to interact and invest in the community. It tells the kids that there's something more important than themselves. It teaches the principle of giving back. It teaches selflessness. I was just part of a project this weekend where a bunch of kids showed up at several different sites in the neighborhood, and they were doing work for people who couldn't do the work themselves. And it was just great to see the kids working as a team and doing this stuff. And when one job was done, they went to another job and helped out again. They got a lot of satisfaction about this whole idea of about being selfless and about serving. So very, very important habit to develop for a lifetime. Another thing is to establish core family values. Determine what your core values are as a family. Make a list of what's important to you in your life, what's important to you in your family. It could be anything from walking a dog, reading books, saving money, keeping good hygiene, getting good grades. Those could be in there. Once you've made a list, begin to look for certain values that you can categorize together. For instance, if you see you have reading on the list and studying on the list and going to the museum, they're all on the same list. You might just put that under the category of learning or education as one of your core values. And come to an agreement on these things and write them out. Write them out in longhand. And then surely somebody in your family can go to the computer and publisher, and they can begin to play with the different fonts, and they can make it sort of artsy, like some of the examples you see on the sides of our slide here. You can then print them out in full color. You can put them in frames and hang them in your home. You can put them in different formats, but you can have them in your bathroom where they see them every day when they're getting out of the shower and they're brushing their teeth. They can see the family values in the kitchen or post on the refrigerator. But the idea is consistently you're going to be messaging to yourself and your children that you have these particular values that help shape them and the person that they're going to become and the family that you are becoming. So very, very important. Another thing, I want you to hold a monthly family meeting. You should go to an office store. I'm going to just give a shout out here for a second. I have some friends who have an office store that all of you could use. You don't have to be right here in Vermont where I'm at. There's a company called Boss Office Works, and they are in Killington, Vermont, but they have an online store, and you can get just about anything that you could get from Staples or Office Max. You could get it from these folks. And instead of helping a large corporation where you don't know anything about the folks there, you can actually help a small business. So, you know, get your colored papers, your cards, colored pens, those kind of things. Then sit down with each member and write out your intentions and your goals for the month. You want to help each other be accountable. You're going to share these goals again and again. So as the kids are writing out their goals, let's say that one of them wants to try out for the jazz band. Well, then you might need to learn, this child might need to learn to play a certain piece. And so you might have to set out a time schedule where they would learn to practice that certain piece, put in enough time in order to get that done. Maybe one of the kids wants to be on a certain team, the football team or the basketball team. Well, that might require a certain amount of practice, if going to the gym or working out in the driveway and shooting hoops, you know, whatever it is. So you might set aside time with that kid, with that child, in order to help them put in the time so that they can get this thing that they want. So you're teaching them that, you know, you're not just making a wish list, but you're setting a goal, and you're going to set the action steps necessary in order to make it more likely to achieve that goal. And of course, you're going to hold each other accountable. Mom and dad, or when the weather's good, you're going to say, hey, you need to get outside and shoot hoops if you want to make the basketball team. And you're going to review at the end of the month and beginning of the next month. You're going to review your goals. You're going to reset the goals. You're going to see how well they did, and so on. So very, very important thing for creating a successful family. And just a little bit about those goals. I want you to see here, I made a slide that has some information on it. In 1979, students were asked, have you set clear written goals for your future and made plans to accomplish them? Here's what they found out. 3% had written goals and plans, only 3%. 13% had goals, but they were not in writing. But 84% had no goals at all. 10 years later, when they looked at this group of individuals, the 84% had no goals at all. Watch what happens when the 13% had goals. Even though they're unwritten, their income was 2 times the income of the group of people, the students that had no goals at all. And if their goals were written down, that 3%, their income was 10 times more than the income of the folks who had no goals. It's very profound, very important thing that we teach our kids to make goals and teach them how to make goals, how to set up the action steps to get there. It'll be useful for all of us our entire lives. So top 10 reasons to write down your goals is kind of like David Letterman's top 10 list. Written goals strengthen your character by promoting a long-term perspective. Written goals allow you to lead your life as opposed to simply managing it. You're in charge when you have goals because you have certain things that you're going to accomplish. Instead of just managing the chaos that comes to you, you are creating the life that you want. Written goals provide internal, permanent, and consistent motivation. You wake up thinking about how to accomplish them. Written goals help you to stay focused so you don't get swayed by the next shiny object. Written goals enhance your decision-making ability. Written goals simultaneously require and build self-confidence. When we begin to achieve our goals, we affirm ourselves, and we get more and more confident about being able to take on bigger and bigger challenges in our life. Written goals help you to create the future in advance. So we can literally sit down and we can plan our future and plan our action steps, and we are so much more likely to manifest what we plan today in our future if we follow those steps. Written goals help you to control changes, to adjust your sails, to work with the wind rather than against it. Because when you see opportunities come, you're able to adjust to the situation. The next one, written goals heighten your awareness of opportunities that are consistent with your goal. So you might be have been following a certain goal for a long time, and then something comes across your path, and you look at that and say, that's the perfect opportunity for me to realize this thing that I've been dreaming about for a long time. And one of the most important benefits of setting goals is the person that you become as a result of this pursuit. Finally, the last healthy habit of a successful family is to make chiropractic a part of your lifestyle. I want to just share that almost every professional sports team, the Olympic teams have multiple chiropractors. I have a number of friends who've served on the Olympic team. I have a few friends that I went to school with who are chiropractors for, say, the Green Bay Packers or the New York Giants or the Chicago Bears. Almost every professional sport, every athletic endeavor benefits from chiropractic care. I'm a fan of lifetime chiropractic care, from the womb to the tomb, if you will. I love the idea of children being adjusted. I think it's interesting to note that some of the top athletes of our time right now in their respective sports are these children of chiropractic doctors. Golfer Zach Johnson, he's a Masters winner. His father is a chiropractor in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Aaron Rodgers, a Super Bowl winner, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, his father is a chiropractor. And there's just something different about kids that are raised in chiropractic. To further illustrate the point, I was listening to a podcast just recently with Dr. Dave Osborne, who's a chiropractor. He does a program called The Chiropractic Philanthropist, and he was interviewing another doctor by the name of Dr. Steve Hoffman. And Dr. Steve Hoffman was just talking about how he loved adjusting children and how important it was to adjust children from the very beginning. He said that he'd noticed in his practice and in his life and would hang around with other chiropractors and their kids. He said he noticed that early on, these kids who were raised in their chiropractic had a different glow about them. They had a shine to them. They were just almost shiny in their energy and their posture and their movement and their facility with learning athletic things. It's just different. And he said, I honestly believe that I could take a room full of kids, of 10 kids, and if 5 of them were chiropractic patients, had been from the very beginning, and 5 of them were what he called others, who had not had chiropractic. He said, not knowing those kids, but spending just a little bit of time with them, observing them and how they move and observing that shine, he says, I feel confident that I could pretty much put the 5 kids who had chiropractic on one side of the room and the 5 kids who weren't on the other side of the room. And I thought that was kind of a profound thing, because I've noticed the same thing myself in my family. And so we think it's a big deal to adjust children. The birthing process is not an easy thing. It's not easy for mom. It's not easy for the kids. Coming through that canal can put stresses on the neck, can put stresses on the shoulders, stresses on the lower back, particularly if they're breech. Even being carried around inside mommy's tummy for a long period of time, those babies are upside down, their heads are tipped and turned. They can actually get subluxations or misalignments of their spine in utero. So we think it's very important to get children checked. I've been doing chiropractic for nearly 30 years, and I do a weekly class in my office where I talk to patients about the chiropractic message and the benefits of chiropractic and how the nervous system works and how good posture is good for the nervous system, how good spinal health is good for the posture, and so on. And I've asked many times, you know, who here would like to have learned about this later in their life? No one says they'd like to have learned about it later. I ask, how many of you would like to have learned about chiropractic before now? And almost everybody raises their hand. And so that raises a question like, how soon should we learn about chiropractic care and the benefits of it? Should we learn about it, when we're in high school, when we start playing sports? Should we learn about it when we begin to work for ourselves? Or should we learn about it when we're kids? Wouldn't it have been nice if our parents had told us about chiropractic? Wouldn't it have been nice if our parents had made it their responsibility to get us to the chiropractor and get adjusted when we were little. So I just want to kind of wrap up a few good reasons that chiropractic is good for your family. Families that use chiropractic use fewer medical services, okay? The neuroscience proves that some adjustments affect the immune system, particularly up at the top of your spine at C1 and C2. We also know that optimal spinal function equals improved motor function and skills. Properly functioning joints give us better motor function. Better motor function give us better athleticism. Who doesn't want that for themselves? Who doesn't want that for the children? Early detection of postural concerns is something that chiropractic is very good at. I'm not going to knock too hard on this, but oftentimes the first time someone's had a real postural examination is in a chiropractor's office. Sometimes the girls get a postural examination at the middle school level and the grade school level because the school nurse is checking them for scoliosis. But quite frankly, most of the people I see, they've never had a postural exam. They've never had a real neurological exam as it relates to their total coordination and function until they've been to a chiropractor's office. Good posture aids in learning. We know that kids with good posture who are sitting up straight in school take in more information and keep more information. If your children are having difficulty with a head forward posture, the shoulders are rounded, they're likely going to have difficulty learning, and they're also going to have other health problems as a result. Good posture has social benefits and self-esteem. Think about this. If we were in a situation where I was presenting to you and standing in front of you and I was standing upright in a nice, attractive posture, I would project power and authority and you would be listening. But if I was kind of hanging my shoulders forward and my head was forward and it's kind of slowed my metabolism down, it would also slow my presentation down, you would get bored with that pretty quickly and you would not have the same kind of regard for me. When our kids are standing up straight and tall, people look at them as peers and adults look at them as peers, and they just get a different kind of reflection back onto themselves when they look at adults who are looking back at them with high regard. But if we are slumping around with poor posture, we kind of what I want to say, we kind of associate certain behaviors with poor posture, and it lowers our regard for that person, and our lower regard reflects onto that person, and they have lower self-esteem. It's been proven that posture has self-esteem benefits. More and more pediatricians are recommending chiropractic. We are getting pediatricians referring to our office. Didn't used to be that way, but it's starting to happen. So we're very excited about this. And then the last thing is, nobody ever said, and I alluded to this before, I wish I'd learned about chiropractic later in my life. So the 7 habits for healthy families recap are as follows. Be intentional about what your family eats. Be an active family. Be a social family. Be a volunteering family. Be a family that establishes core values. Be a family that sets goals and takes action steps toward their achievement. And finally, be a chiropractic family. Don't leave your kids behind. So, trying to get out of this so that I can come back to and join up with you. Stop. Okay, so as I said, we will be posting this. The slide presentation will be up for you, recorded on fosteringwellness.net. at Fostering Wellness on Facebook and Fostering Wellness at Google+. And if there were any problems with it, I kind of worry that there might have been. So, but if there were any problems with it, I will certainly re-record it and put it up there once I figure out what was going on. So anyway, let's look forward to hearing back from you. And we are Fostering Wellness at Brandon, Rutland, and Randolph, Vermont.